what caused the financial success was not extreme ability. You know, I have a good mind, but I'm way short of prodigy. And I've had results in life that are prodigious. And that came from tricks. I just learned a few basic tricks from people like my grandfather.
What were those tricks?
What kind of? Now everybody's leaning in, wanting to know.
It's too late for you old guys.
Charlie Munger has stated on several occasions that most of his success as an investor and in life overall is due to mental models which he uses to analyze different situations as they appear in his journey of life. He is convinced that the impact which he has created in the world of investing has nothing to do with his intelligence. These mental models help him in thinking critically and act as a shield which help him to fend off costly mistakes. By using these mental models in the domain of value investing, he has achieved enormous success that can be gauged from the fact that he currently has a net worth of $2.4 billion. He has not only been a source of inspiration for many aspiring investors like Mohnish Pabrai, but he will also be remembered as one of the best investors and thought leaders of all time. So today we will be exploring 5 ways in which he critically analyzes a situation. These mental models have helped him in making key decisions while investing as well as other areas during his lifelong journey as an investor, mentor, and a successful entrepreneur. So we start with the most prominent mental model, which is inverting, which means that we invert the problem which we need to solve.
There are all kinds of tricks that I just got into by accident in life. One, I invert all the time. And when I was a weather forecaster when I was in the Air Corps. And how did I handle my new assignment? Being a weather forecaster in the Air Corps is a lot like being a doctor that reads x-rays. It's a pretty solitary. You're in the hangar in the middle of the night and drawing weather maps and you're clearing pilots, but you're not interfacing with a bunch of your fellow men very much. And so I figured out the minute I was actually making weather forecasts for real pilots, I said, how can I kill these pilots? Now that's not the question that most people would ask. But I want to know what the easiest way to kill them would be so I could avoid it. And so I thought it through in reverse that way. And I finally figured out, I said, there are only 2 ways I'm ever going to, I was in the ferry command, there are only 2 ways I'm going to kill a pilot. He said, I'm going to get him to icing his plane can't handle, and that will kill him. Or I'm going to get him someplace where he's going to run out of gas before he can land because all the airports are sucked in. And I just was fanatic about avoiding those 2 hazards. And if Kobe Bryant had had somebody like me, he'd still be with us. Yeah, it was so stupid to kill yourself that way. But just that basic, I may have learned that from my grandfather. My grandfather would say to me when I'm swimming, he'd say, swim as long as you want, but stay near the shore. Well, but you can laugh, but no, he was a very wise man.
Exactly. What I'm hearing you say is that you, as a discipline, look at what the risk is on the other side of the situation and you avoid that. That's one of the rules, right?
Well, it's like a lot of practical problems in algebra. If you invert, you can solve it easily. If you don't, you can't solve it easily.
Exactly right.
And so, of course, I had that trick very early. And most people would say, how can you, please tell us what you do to save India or to help India. And of course, I would approach it differently. I'd say, what could I do which would most easily hurt India? And approaching it in reverse that way, I got better results.
You look at the vulnerabilities.
Yes, and I have a whole bag of tricks like that.
So Charlie Munger explained the way he used inversion while working as a meteorologist. People often develop a bias and start to seek information which is aligned with their beliefs. So even if you find a business which you think has a durable competitive advantage, remember that your beliefs could potentially be just one side of the coin. You should also invert, meaning critically analyze a business with an intent to find out the various ways in which a business might fail to compete in the marketplace or could lose its competitive edge. You need to understand if the industry is on the verge of disruption. Will its products or services remain relevant in the coming decade? Could the moat of the company be breached via internationalization or by its competitors? So whenever your friends or colleagues mention the reasons which they believe will be detrimental to the success of the company which you have shortlisted, thank them instead of being unhappy about it. They are doing you a favor by providing you with the information that will help you in making a better investment decision. The second mental model which he uses is humility, or to realize that a person does not know when he has a limited knowledge about an industry or a company.
Humility, I've frequently said that when they passed that out, I didn't get my full share. And that was a serious problem when I was young. And I only cured it partly by becoming very rich. And generous. It takes both to overcome a defect like that. So the young people in the room, don't copy this if you're not willing to pay the price.
Well,
I don't, but if humility means that you know the edge of your own competency,
yes.
and you aren't arrogantly stepping over the boundary, I'm very good at that. But within my area of competency, my best friend would not adore me for my humility.
Yeah, well, I'd redefine humility as knowing what you don't know.
Yes, well, both Warren and I are very good at that. One of these guys at the Berkshire meeting from one of the foreign publications said, why do a couple of guys in a little place in Omaha do so much better than all these powerful minds in great institutions? And I said, well, I think Warren and I know the edge of our competency better than other people do. And that's humility in the umbrella sense, and that is a very important thing to know. I say over and over again, it's not a competency if you don't know the edge of it. You are a disaster if you don't know the edge of your own competency. Warren frequently says, I'd rather deal with a guy with an IQ of 130 who thinks it's 125 than a guy with an IQ of 180 that thinks it's 200. That second guy will kill you. And so it is very important to know the edge of your own competency.
So one of the main factors of success in investing is to know one's circle of competence and invest in companies which are in the industry which one knows inside out. I firmly believe that in investing you don't have to understand every industry, otherwise it would take you a lifetime to understand different industries. You need to thoroughly understand one or two industries in depth. Remember that the devil is in the details and surface level knowledge is not enough. As an expert in software architectures, born global firms and business ecosystems, I like to analyze the software companies and try to understand how they are uniquely positioned in the market, how likely it is that the company will survive this fast evolving industry, and how can it create value for users across the globe. So once you know your domain of competence and the limit of it, it will help you in avoiding bad investing decisions since you won't be investing in businesses that you don't understand. It will also make you aware of the situations when you are drifting away from your circle of competence. So always understand the business models of those companies that fall within your circle of competence. This will take your investing game to the next level.
Specialization is the safest way up for most people. And for that reason, say surgeons know more and more about less and less, and that's what gets rewarded. And if you have a nasty fistula in your colon, you do not want a surgeon who's good at Proust or political science. It's understandable how the world rewards this specialization. I never liked it. And I loved picking up new ideas, being a great, passionate reader. And so I decided I'd make whatever living I could make doing what I like to do, which is sort of romping over a whole field. I do not recommend it to other people because the safe way up is to know a hell of a lot about something
So here Charlie Munger emphasizes on the importance of specialization even though he himself does not specialize. He believes that specialization is the smart thing to do. He mentions the importance of specialization in the career of a person, and that is surely applicable in investing also. And specialization is not just limited to finding good businesses in certain industries, but it also defines the scope as well as the investing strategies which we employ. So for some great investors, value investing might be the only card they play in the game of investing. As we all know that Warren Buffett knows the domain of insurance very well, George Soros understood the key macroeconomic drivers very well, Bill Ackman knows the market psychology and has the ability to shortlist good growth companies as well. Chamath Palihapitiya is famous for spotting gaps in the market and investing in innovative companies or technologies early on. Michael Burry is well known for gauging the sentiment of the markets. Ray Dalio has a firm grasp on macroeconomics. Charlie Munger understands China very well. Benjamin Graham understood distressed businesses very well. And Jack Bogle understood long-term market trends very well. And the third important point is don't care about the short-term volatility. Remember that the market is driven by emotions. You should try to focus on the long-term growth of the company.
Well, I am continuously invested in American equities. But I've had my Berkshire stock decline by 50% 3 times. And it doesn't bother me that much.
So as a value investor, you should buy companies whose stocks are trading well below their intrinsic value, since your goal should be to buy quality businesses at good price when market offers it to you for a discount. And if you know that the price you paid for the business is more than the value which you got, it will keep you calm in the turbulent times or market crashes, since market crashes are a reality. So always focus on the long term and don't bother much about the short term volatility. The fourth important thing which he talks about is to always keep things simple. Charlie Munger is a big fan of investing in businesses that have simple business models and don't require an Einstein level IQ to run them. This is what he said in his interview.
But what is your sort of philosophical rule base for when you're looking at organizations to invest in or acquire?
Well, we have a very peculiar way of looking at things. We want to buy something that's intrinsically a very good business, meaning that an idiot could run it and it would do all right. And then we want that business, which an idiot could run successfully, to have a wonderful person in it running it. And if we have a wonderful business with a wonderful person running it, that really turns us on, and it works very well. And now we do make exceptions, but not many. And it's a pretty simple philosophy. Warren sometimes says you have to choose good person or good business. You know what he says? This is not politically correct. He says good business. He wants something that has such tremendous strength. I had a friend when I practiced law, and he said, if it won't stand a little mismanagement, it's not much of a business. And we like businesses that stand a lot of mismanagement but don't get it. So that's our formula. And we can't make it work perfectly, but it certainly worked better than most people's.
So the whole idea is to find a business with a solid and resilient business model that is run by a great person. But even if at some time in the future, if the business is run by a person who is not very competent, the business should still be fine since it has less complexity. Therefore, investing in simple businesses is important since every investment decision has potential risk, reward, and uncertainty. When you invest in simple businesses with durable competitive advantages, this reduces the risk as well as uncertainty. For example, investing in simple businesses will relieve you from the adverse effects of uncertainty in times such as when some important heads of department, managers, or let's say other key people in the business leave. And the final trick which Charlie Munger talks about has helped me immensely in my investing journey. And this is the habit of reading a lot. Let's listen to what he said in his interview.
Don't you read a book a day, something like that?
Well,
maybe not.
I read and I skim a lot.
Yeah.
I do the accidents of life. You'll give me books. I am in a torrent of books. Perfect strangers give me books.
Yeah.
Lots of them. And I almost never buy a book anymore. When I was young, I used to order them from the book review columns of the New York Times. And Now that it's torrent of books comes in, I just select what I want. And I'm amazed at how well some of these people are reading me.
And what has that done to your life? I think.
Well, it was perfect for me. I don't think you can take every bookish little boy and turn him into a billionaire by patting him on the head and say, read all you want, Johnny. But if it were that easy, there'd be more billionaires. But it enormously helped me. And I think reading, once you've learned it, reading and arithmetic, you can take in so much, and you can take it in on your own time schedule. If somebody's talking to you, he may be telling you something you don't want to know, you already know, it's too hard, or he's going too fast or too slow.
Yeah.
But when you're reading, you can just
take it as
you want it. So it's just God's gift. If you're into self-education, there's nothing like reading. And of course, people who do a lot of it have an enormous advantage.
So the main point over here is that we should learn from the experiences of others. Every book that we read has years or even decades of experience of someone very wise. The awareness of investing strategies, the mindset as well as the knowledge of the key mistakes which others have made could be a gold mine that will help us in reducing the risk and enhancing the potential rewards during our investing journey. It is very important to think of life as a growth-centric experience, and the learning process never stops. It is hard to imagine that many people stop reading or do it very less the moment they leave universities. So keep on learning, keep on improving, and keep on making new strides so that you can realize your full potential not only in the area of investing but also in other areas of life. This will also increase your ability to earn more. Personal development is the key differentiator that separates mediocres from protagonists in any area. So these were Charlie Munger's 5 key tricks or mental models that forged him as one of the best investors of all time. Let me know in the comments below, would you like me to do similar videos in future? Furthermore, what sort of topics would you like me to cover on this channel in the future? If you found this video useful, please don't forget to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and also consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. You all are awesome, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.